The government has unveiled plans, as you know by now, to outlaw surcharges in most in-store card payments. We're talking PayWave, Visa, MasterCard, debit, credit cards. It's the Retail Payment System Ban on Surcharges Amendment Bill, and it is expected to be introduced by the end of the year. Now, until then, shoppers could see extra fees of up to 3% tacked onto the checkout, depending on how they choose to pay. Apparently, it's costing us around $150 million a year, including $45 to $65 million. That is deemed excessive. Commerce and Consumer Affairs Minister Scott Simpson said the changes will mean no more nasty surprises at the till. He argues the ban will give shoppers clearer pricing and more confidence when paying. This legislation builds on the CC's recent efforts to lower card interchange fees, projected to save businesses about $90 million a year, reducing the incentive for hidden surcharges. Now, retailers and hospitality industry groups do warn that businesses may end up not absorbing the processing fees, but simply fold them into base prices. So basically leading us, the customer, to still pay, but a different way of paying, if you know what I mean. Especially for small, low-margin operations. The CEO of Retail New Zealand is Carolyn Young, and it's good to have her back on the show. Carolyn, good morning.
Good morning, Leah. Lovely to be here.
Now, I've seen your lovely face popping up all over the place, Carolyn. You are running from interview to interview, so I'm so thankful that you've got time for little old me, which is great. Firstly, Carolyn, were you aware this was something the government was even looking into? I feel it's come out of nowhere. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Look, the announcement absolutely came out of nowhere. So what we can tell you is that the Commerce Commission, they announced some changes to the interchange fee, which is one of the fees in the merchant service fee that have been capped, and they're going to be implemented on the 1st of December. So that's not in play yet. So those savings that you talked about for retailers and hospitality businesses, they are not in place yet. When they made that announcement, the Commerce Commission talked about the fact that the next thing on there that they would be looking at would be tighter regulations around surcharging and having some clearer guidelines around what would be appropriate. That was going to happen next year, and after they had bedded down the first phase of the regulation around the fee. And what we were expecting is to have a full consultation, be able to engage with retailers and hospitality businesses, and then come out with a solution. We had anticipated from our conversations with the Commerce Commission that there would be a really clear fixed cap, which would be much lower than where it currently sits. So, they might have come back out and said, a cap of a maximum of 1% surcharge, or it might have even been lower than that. And that would have been really clear for consumers and for retailers, and it wouldn't be inflationary. Because actually the Commerce Commission would say, well, we know that the total fee that you're getting now that we've now that we've regulated the banks and what they can charge, your total fee should be no more than 1%, therefore you can't charge more than 1%. That's where we'd expected to land.
That's where you wanted to land.
So out of the blue, right. I got a call from the Minister's office on Sunday letting me know that this was going to be announced on the Monday. So it's been a busy few days because of the way it's been announced. And look, we've had a lot of feedback from our small members, and they are really unhappy. Their perspective is, they're really struggling in a tough economic environment. Every margin matters. So, and look, and what I've talked about to give listeners really that perspective. Yeah. EFTPOS came into being in about the late 1980s, I think it was 87 or 89, and it was a world-leading payments platform. No one else around the world had such a really great system to use. And any transaction that goes through the EFTPOS network is free for a merchant, so a hospitality business, a retailer. There's no fees incurred. So the difference from around the contactless payments, they, with the advances of technology and how it all occurs, there's a bunch of fees that were put in place if any transaction goes through that network. What's happened is that there's been a big swing from EFTPOS across to contactless payments, and that has really put a pinch on the profitability from businesses because they've gone from none of their payments having any fees attached to them to seeing a whole lot of fees come through. Now, what the minister did say, and this is what will happen, is that when it's introduced, so that the timeline, just for your information, they're looking to make amendments to the bill or the act by the end of the year and implementing the ban in about May next year. Yeah. That's what the minister said. What he also indicated, and we've spoken to a number of people, and a lot of the retailers agree, that people will move away from EFTPOS and they'll move into contactless if there's no surcharge on that. What that actually means is that the percentage of transactions that incur a fee for a retailer will increase because less people will pay on EFTPOS. So any benefit that retailers will have received from a lower fee through the interchange cap will be null and void by the fact that they're going to have more transactions incurring a fee, and so therefore it's not going to help their margins, which is why small retailers have indicated to us that they're likely to increase their prices. We've even had retailers that don't surcharge, because in terms of retail, not that many stores surcharge. It's much more common in hospo. But, you know, we've had businesses that don't surcharge actually writing to us and saying, you know, I fundamentally oppose this. You know, here's an email I received last night. As a business, we do not surcharge credit card fees, but I strongly oppose this proposal on the basis that it is an illogical and unnecessary intervention in a functioning and competitive market. In fact, I ask that Retail NZ advocate for the complete opposite and prohibit contracts such as BNPL schemes that prevent surcharging and force those people who use low-cost payment methods from subsidising high-cost payment methods. And then this particular retailer has gone to some extent to outline, you know, 10 different points around what the issues are. And this is from a retailer who doesn't surcharge.
Wow.
But he objects to the fact that the government is coming in and regulating what a business can and can't do, and therefore removes that sort of laissez-faire business environment where the market decides. The market's not going to decide because the government's deciding.
And Carolyn, this is where I'm scratching my head, because I didn't think it was something that needed to be fixed. But then I thought, well, okay. I saw, was it Scott Simpson saying, you know, he kept liking to say, he kept saying, you know, those horrible little sticky things that sit on the, and they're all, tacky looking, and it says 1%. And I thought, oh, that's just kind of, and I went, well, but I do know, they do tell you. I mean, there are some that might not, but I know what it's going to be if it's 1% or one, like you said, it's more hospitality that does it. And I don't use tap and go. I use EFTPOS. I don't get a fee, and they don't get a fee. And I still swipe my card like an old-fashioned person and put in a PIN. And now I'm going to have to subsidise all you flash tap and go people. And that's what I'm not happy about.